Hi, I'm Patty Ann Brown, and you are in the strategy room. President Trump's plan to build a wall on the southern border and make Mexico pay for it has drawn the ire of many Mexican officials, and now some are attempted to retaliate by targeting American corn farmers. A Mexican senator is introducing legislation to buy corn from Argentina and Brazil instead of the United States. Is this the start of a trade war between the U.S. and Mexico? Here to discuss are Sarah Badawi, a senior lobbyist for the Progressive Change Campaign Committee, and Charmaine Yost, a senior fellow at American Values. Thank you both for joining us.
Thanks, Patty Ann.
So, Sarah, is this the start of a trade war?
I would absolutely say it might be, and I think it's with good reason. When we take actions that threaten our relationships with longstanding allies, they're well within their rights to respond accordingly. And I think it's important to note here that when people voted for Donald Trump, they didn't vote for him to start an accidental trade war with Mexico by undermining longstanding policies with good allies.
So Iowa Republican Senator Chuck Grassley told Fox News, quote, anything that restricts export markets for U.S. farm products very likely means lost income for Iowa farmers and ag workers. And Charmaine, some people say that just is going to have a ripple effect across the economy. Do you agree with this assessment of the potential negative impact on our economy?
Well, I think I'd start with the position that Donald Trump campaigned on building a wall and on protecting American borders and American security interests. So you start there. He is fulfilling his campaign promise. And so seeing one bill introduced in Mexico isn't necessarily the start of a trade war. It's the start of a response from Mexico. It's something that I'm sure this administration will be keeping an eye on. But we can't let our fundamental security we can't be distracted by saber rattling from Mexico. We can't be surprised by this. Of course, they're going to respond in some way, but our overall position is going to be nuanced. It's going to include our tax policy. We just saw Speaker Ryan speaking extensively about the upcoming tax bill. There will be multiple layers of economic response to our relationship with Mexico, and so I think that we don't want to overreact by simply a bill being introduced by a Mexican senator.
All right, so this bill that is being proposed only applies to corn. Sarah, do you think it might be expanded to include other goods?
You know, I'm not sure whether it will be expanded, but I think it's important to pay attention to the fact that this bill is introduced as a culmination of several things that have taken place between Donald Trump and the administration of Mexico. I think we're seeing them feel threatened that our longstanding relationship as allies is undermined. But more importantly, right now, Donald Trump is putting our American farmers in a situation where they may not be able to sell their goods to one of our biggest consumers. And I think that is detrimental and not what people voted for when he campaigned on jobs and helping our economy.
Charmaine, final thoughts?
Well, that's exactly it. He did campaign on jobs in the American economy and the American farmer. He will be paying attention to that, and I think that as we move forward, we will see a host of different activities being put on the table that will ultimately be a support to the American farmer, because ultimately that's what America first and putting the American worker in the first negotiating position is all about.
You know, Sarah, we're seeing some reaction from people who say, look, you know, America can adapt. First of all, it's harder than Mexico might think to buy these goods from Brazil. It's a longer way to ship, and it's going to be more expensive. It's going to be more complicated than they realize. But that if it does come to fruition, that U.S. farmers can grow other things instead, that they'll find another way to fill the need. What about that?
I think that's a message he should try to talk to farmers about, because I think many people who have built their livelihood on selling corn on the global markets are not going to be too pleased. And time and again, we're seeing Donald Trump betray some of his very own supporters by selling out American families and workers and farmers for the sake of Wall Street. And we've seen that with his nominations across the board. And now his reckless approach to U.S. diplomatic relations is going to have very real effects on our economy.
I think that's a pretty big extrapolation from one senator in Mexico introducing a bill. I don't think that we need to fundamentally change, you know, his fulfillment of a campaign promise from that position.
All right, we'll see what happens. Sarah and Charmaine, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
And for complete political coverage, stay right here on FoxNews.com. I'm Patty Ann Brown. Thanks for watching.